Okay, right. Well, we're here in the Royal Institute. Here, Faraday discovered electricity, or he was one of the people who was instrumental in it. Now, AI is going to be arguably more important than the internet. So, what is it that Cohesity feels that AI is going to do?
Sure. Kit, would you like to start?
Certainly. So AI has the potential to radically transform society as we know it. Any task that can be automated by a computer will be automated. And we're already starting to see the very first results of that. As any college or high school student can tell you, they're already well down the path of using AI to help write papers, do research, and so on. But I think we're just at the verge of the next revolution where we see the benefits of being able to automate business capabilities in terms of delivering a better customer experience, delivering better insights in terms of the world around us. And fundamentally, this is all built on one thing, and that's data.
And what we also see with AI is that there's this tremendous opportunity that Kit was alluding to in terms of productivity, in terms of workflows, and at the same time, there are some risks. And we recognize that some agents gone rogue or AI hallucinations can take decisions down the wrong path. So there are a few things at Cohesity, we believe, which is one, we have a mission to make the world a safer place, and we do that through protect, secure, and providing insights from data. And what we want to do is, within the product, is make sure we can help companies who have any AI challenges possibly recover and get back to the last known good state. And obviously, like every other company out there, we're putting more AI into our products so that an admin or an IT ops or a security ops person doesn't have to take as many manual steps, that the software can lead them along the way.
And do you think that there are going to be challenges from AI that people haven't even really thought about?
Yes, and I think, Kit, you've been talking to customers about some of the challenges.
Certainly. Yeah, I mean, there are two aspects of this. One is the quality of the AI itself, right? Making sure that AI is in fact doing what we want it to do. We've seen already some things, Carol mentioned AI hallucinations, these sorts of things. So making sure that the AI is manageable and can actually be controlled in a way that it's actually delivering the outcomes we expect. The second set of challenges is really around, again, the quality of the data that goes into these models, right? What are we training the models on? Do we train it on the Financial Times and New York Times, or are we training it on bad data, maybe something nefarious? So it's the old computer science garbage in, garbage out type challenge, but also again making sure that we can put controls around this. So our customers are very focused on ensuring that they can integrate AI in a meaningful, reliable, and of course a safe way for their business and their end customers. But at the same time, they want to make sure they can go fast, and they want to make sure they can go with speed, with safety.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because there was that old cybersecurity adage, CIA, confidentiality, integrity, accessibility. Mm-hmm. We're still really at that, aren't we? Because, as you've just said, you want to have good data. You want to have data that's not poisoned. Yeah. At the same time, you want to be able to make sure that you've protected it properly and that it's available. That availability is the huge issue, isn't it?
That's right. And Pete, what you're alluding to is we talk a lot with our customers about cyber resilience. It's also about AI resilience as a company, which means making sure that you have your data protected and secured in a way that should anything happen, not just human error now, agent error, machine error. And these threats are coming, frankly, now at machine speed. So the bad guys, unfortunately, have always been a step ahead of the good guys, companies trying to protect themselves. And unfortunately, AI just supercharges all that potential for bad things to happen in terms of really exploiting code or finding vulnerabilities and exploiting those, or everything that has happened here to date is now accelerated.
And so how do you do that with the software? I mean, you've got to make it work with just about anybody else's software, haven't you?
Indeed. Well, there are two aspects of this. One is we have to make it interoperable. It has to work in the ecosystem. So we do that at Cohesity out of the box. We've been a big believer in open ecosystems, and that's part of our strategy. Really is best of breed. We fundamentally see it differently than many of our peers in the industry who are trying to build closed systems. We believe open systems are the only way forward. But the bigger point here is, as we see in the industry, and as Carol alluded to, AI is now part of the bad guys' toolbox as well. So we have to build from the ground up the protections in place in our software to identify and detect when there are bad things happening, and then also take a very different approach now to how we scan and check our own code before we ship it to customers. So some of us have been looking at this inflection point really, and it's accelerated tremendously just since the start of this calendar year. It's come, frankly, what feels like a light year forward, and we've had to change a lot of things about the way we think about building, delivering, and having the ongoing the ongoing security around our code. So it's now built from the ground up to be AI ready and AI secure.
That's a massive challenge, isn't it? Because this is evolution. When you're talking about having these closed systems, you're talking about really, it's a castle, isn't it? And you can't have your data in a castle. Not if you want to actually have it moving around in this new world.
That's right. So we announced, Pete, a few months ago, some relationships with key partners. For example, with Snowflake and with ServiceNow, where we're providing data and we're interacting with them. So if something, for example, ServiceNow, they have an agent control tower. If they notice an agent gone rogue, they'll set off a trigger which will come to Cohesity, and Cohesity Data Cloud will ensure that the customer can get back to a known good point quickly and fast. With Snowflake, Databricks, we've announced that we are taking a lot of our unstructured data and exposing that to customers who want to use those warehouses, those data warehouses, those popular ones, and actually look at structured and unstructured data for their AI tool set. So that's what we mean by open system, that there are these different ways we can work. And one thing I should mention is we were pleased, we are now part of Mythos, so that was released by Anthropic, and so we have this opportunity to use this really incredible AI tool that they have to evaluate and scan our code for vulnerabilities quickly.
I mean, this is what fascinates me about all of this. I've been covering technology on and off for over 35 years. And what I find fascinating is that now you're beginning to see this ecosystem that people are talking about. Companies like Cohesity are allowing you to actually see the landscape. It's a question of that, really, isn't it? This is the metaverse, and you're giving a view on it.
Absolutely. And I think, again, coming back to the core idea that the data is the foundational platform for everything that we're doing here. As you say, what is a bank? What is an airline? What is a package delivery company? Frankly, at the core of it, it's data and a database, and that data has got to be integrated, it's got to be available, it's got to be secured. And so really this kind of the twin themes right now of AI for productivity and for new capabilities in the industry, combined with the fact that you need to have that secured and well integrated into the ecosystem. As you say, it's finally come into life. When I was a boy, I would read science fiction. Feels like the science fiction is now arriving on our doorstep, and it's happening with increasing speed.
No, absolutely. I mean, I went to a conference in Panama, and it was all of the leading people in AI, and I can remember walking around thinking that, well, there is no science fiction left now. It's become science. It's reality. We're in the UK now. Is there anything different about the UK in terms of your customers? Are there any particular issues that you have to be aware of? How different are these various areas in terms of being able to do business?
Well, I would say the UK, being one of the G7 economies, is of course always going to be on the forefront of IT and IT adoption. I look, over the years, UK.gov as an example has always been best in breed delivery in terms of government IT services as one example. So we look at this as a leading market globally for us. We also see that there's a lot of innovation happening here, right? There's been quite a number of startups, here, particularly in East London and such, who are actually doing really leading edge work that is actually influencing the industry overall. For Cohesity, we see this as a place where we need to deliver at the very high end of expectations in terms of scale, performance, speed, all those sorts of things that really matter. Because again, several large global brands, are here and really are pulling the industry in a very aggressive way. And I would just say, we're very fortunate to have a lot of resource here in the country, so we actually get a lot of good insight back into how we run the business. So, in sum, the UK is one of our very top markets globally, and is a place that we see a lot of opportunity and investment for us in the future.
That's right. And I would just add, we are increasing our go-to-market capabilities. So Kit obviously runs a very substantial sales and partner team. We are investing more marketing resource here over the next year. So hopefully you'll start to see more of our advertisements and so on. The one thing that is quite unique about the UK as well as Europe is there is a very strong desire for sovereignty and ensuring that data is protected to the highest level. I mean, just coming here, frankly, all the ads on my phone are now asking for the double, triple opt-in, which I love, by the way. Although as an advertiser, don't always love that, but I very much respect that. And that idea of, that's what Cohesity tries to do. We want to meet customers where they are. So if you want your data on-prem, you want it in the cloud, if you want it in a private cloud, if you want it with a local provider, we offer our software in all those flavors. We want customers to be able to work the way they want to.
I mean, that's an interesting point, isn't it? Because that's a sort of present fear that is very, very high up the agenda in the UK and in Europe. I mean, only last week we were interviewing some of the top people in the House of Lords about this, and they were being, I think the diplomatic word is robust. But really what that's about is actually control over data. A lot of people have been talking to us about, hey, the next decade or so is going to be about data ownership. And it's whether it's personal data ownership or whether it's governmental data ownership. There's going to be an increased awareness of data because of AI, isn't there? And that's really at the core of what Cohesity does.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, data is the fuel for the economy, for businesses, for our personal lives, and making sure that it's secured. That's what we work with companies to do.
Yeah, I would say, GDPR, as you said, the double, triple, opt-in to the various websites, that was one step. But now, as we think about the future, as you say, and we've seen this happen in real time with the geopolitical situation, data as frankly, as an asset, as a national defense capability, and also potentially as a weapon, it's become a big challenge. And I think it's something that every government, every society is really going to need to take a step back and make sure that, again, the age of digital is upon us, and we'll never go back, right? There's no doubt. But now that we've put all of our health data, our banking data, whatever it happens to be, into these systems, we now need to make sure that we can protect it, secure it, and in the scenario where it's been compromised or it's not available, we need to be able to get it back up and running and quickly. And I think that for us at least, and to me in particular, I think about this a lot, everything I do, I don't have enough cash to get home from London. I don't have a paper ticket left. I'm entirely reliant on the digital ecosystem for my ability to even get home and pay for a meal tonight. So it's not just about having the data, but it's about making sure it's readily available and accessible when you need it, which pretty much now is 24/7.
And to add, you were alluding to this with the geopolitical uncertainty that's been going on. I think, this is where there's a personal level, there's a nation state awareness and concern that's quite frankly warranted. It's warranted.
But this is about control, isn't it, really? And that's what Cohesity does. It gives people control in a way that they want. So in terms of that data picture that you've just been talking about, again, it's control. You want to know that you've controlled your data, you've protected it properly, and it's doing what it should be doing.
That's right.
That's exactly
right. We would call that resiliency. Same thing, the idea that you can have that peace of mind. You can go to sleep at night knowing Cohesity is here for you.
And there's one last bit to this, which is the fact that once you have your data and it's been properly scrubbed and reviewed and secured, then the question is, how do you put that to work, right? So in a lot of cases, data is an asset, but people don't really know how to tap into it. They know they have years worth of historical data, say, but they don't know what to do with it. They don't know how to make the most of it. So one of the other things we're doing, in addition to all the resiliency side of this, as Carol was mentioning, is now making that data available in a controlled and selective way, at a company or organization's discretion, but making that available now for their AI training, inference, modeling, whatever it is that they happen to want to do with it. So again, I say it's control and security on one hand, and on the other side, taking the good quality data and making it useful.
And in a sense, I suppose it'd be fair to say you're ahead of the curve on this, aren't you? Because you've realised that this is really what the world of the future is going to be like. Everybody's playing catch up here. We spoke to the science minister about 3 weeks ago, where she was announcing at the Royal United Services Institute that the UK had to build this AI industry because we needed that for our own national security.
Absolutely.
And we work with many of the largest companies in the world and public sector governments, and we believe, they're the ones helping us formulate this strategy. We're very customer centric, and I love to, your UK minister there, she's prescient, understanding the needs of the time. These customers are the ones helping bring our capabilities along too.
Yeah.
And partners, we have several partners.
Excuse me, I was going to say, in addition to that, I think what's become clear is there are a handful of big names out there that everybody reads about daily in the news, which vendor is doing something new and exciting, these frontier models in AI. The reality is that there's a whole community out there outside of the names that are doing things mostly good, but perhaps some maybe you're not doing good with AI. And so I think it's this idea of understanding the landscape and having a core capability in the country to be able to not only take advantage of all of this, but also, as you say, it's a national security imperative as well, to be able to understand it and have alternatives and capabilities, both for, like I said, for good, but also for defensive purposes.
It's funny, you say frontier model. This is also, we're on the cutting edge, aren't we? This is the 21st century. And in the 21st century, you've got to start thinking about evolving new business practices, new ways of doing things that you hadn't thought of before. Faraday didn't think at all that we would be possibly talking about artificial intelligence when he came up with the spark that started, arguably, a lot of this.
It's very true. The transistor, the integrated circuit, the current silicon we know today is CPUs and GPUs. As you say, probably couldn't have envisioned this, but as you say, it's also a thing from science fiction. When we went back to reading books as kids or even as adults, right? Some of the things that we conceived of, even 10, 15 years ago are here, and I think that the pace of innovation means that we all have to be operating differently. personally, commercially, technically, it's a different world. And I would even say that 2026 has been dramatically, almost shocking the rate of
It's
change.
incredible. We feel very fortunate to be here in this time and place. I'm sure you've seen tremendous change as well, and it's incredible. Like, think about how much has changed just over the last year and what we're going to be doing. I'll give you just two quick examples of things we're doing internally. We are redoing workflows using AI, and it's incredible. One of them is translation. So translation is we do business in over 140 countries. It's laborious. We don't do that many languages, but nonetheless, we do many. It's laborious, it's time consuming, and someone on the team built an AI tool to do it immediately and quickly and more accurately. It's quite incredible, the things you can now do. I have a personal agent that every day goes out and grabs all the headlines for me. I used to have to click around. We're going to see the pace of change just accelerate even more.
Indeed.
It's incredible.
Yeah, and it's exciting too. I mean, it's what makes it fun and interesting. I like to tell my family it's sort of guaranteed employment, with all the changes. We as an industry, we need to stay on top of it. And I think it's really important to solve these problems on behalf of our customers around the world. So, like Carol said, it makes your life a lot easier. You don't have to spend a half hour going around in the morning. You can spend 5 minutes just reading all the headlines. But in terms of ensuring that our customers are taking advantage of this, there are a lot of companies we do business with, in these 140 countries that are not necessarily, they've not necessarily been exposed in the way that some of our U.S. customers, UK customers, what have you, have been experiencing this. So we're fortunate to be able to bring best practices around the world, and we believe that's helping in many regards.
That's right. We also today have many amazing partners here as well, and our partners help us tremendously stay close to our customers.